بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين بارد الخلائق أجمعين سيدنا وسندنا وشفيعنا مولانا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد
وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الذين اصطفاهم الله أجمعين. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Allah has said in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. I start in the name of Allah Azza wa Jalla, the omniscient, the omnipotent, and all praise is due to Allah, for He has blessed us with existence, and He has blessed us with the beautiful religion of Islam that He has laid upon us. This religion that not only gives us a way of life, not only provides us with right and wrong, but it also gives us a feeling of certainty, which is a topic for tonight. The concept of certainty in the religion that we have. Certainty, my dear brothers and my dear sisters, is an essential role to any religion. Go to any religion today. You'll find that their goal of this religion is to provide its followers with utmost certainty and as much certainty as possible. Looking at the communities we live in today and the world we might be living in today, we find that the characteristics opposite to certainty are looked down upon. Such characteristics, for example, include characteristics of doubt. Allah said in the Holy Quran, Inna ba'da dhanni ithm. The word dhan means to doubt. Such characteristics that oppose certainty are looked down upon by Islam and by every other religion. Some of us might be sitting here today, although we've been Muslims for 30, 40 years, or we've been practicing Muslims, but inside of us we still have a doubt. And we still feel that, is the religion that I'm on really the true religion? Many religions out there today, so many religions. The question that I want to answer tonight is, how do we know that we have the right religion? I'm not going to directly answer this question for you. Imam Khomeini says, if you want to change a community, don't tell them what to think, teach them how to think. And I'm going to give you tonight the approach towards the thinking style of how you would know that your religion is the right religion. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. In Islamic thought, when it comes to certainty, it's one of the utmost importance. It's one of the utmost important topics to discuss. When looking at the Islamic legal system, you'll find everything is moved upon certainty. Nothing in Islam moves without certainty. Certainty revolves around everything, and everything revolves around certainty. Even in the Islamic justice system, for example, if a person commits a murder, you need 2 witnesses. If a person commits adultery, you need 4 witnesses. If a person commits adultery and there are 4 witnesses, 3 witnesses say one thing and the 1 witness says something else, the 3 witnesses are punished instead of the 1 witness, because Islam preaches that these 3 might have caused a problem. They might have been the ones who have created a fitna in the situation. It doesn't even go to the 1. Islam leaves no point of discretion. Right away it says that the 3 get punished instead of the 1. Why? Because these 3 might have created a fitna. Somebody say, well, why not the 1? Usually what comes in our mind is to punish the 1 person. He must be lying. How can the 3 be lying? They're all saying the same thing. Punish the 1 person, why the 3? Islam says usually that's what you would think. But Islam doesn't even want to leave a small speck of doubt. Not even a small speck of uncertainty. Therefore, it comes up with this conclusion. Our ulama split certainty into 5 different regions. There's waham, there's shak. Waham, meaning I'm 20% sure of something. Shak is about 50% sure of something. Dhan is about 70% sure. Atmi'nan is 98% sure. And yaqeen is 100% sure. In Islam, we shouldn't act upon anything if it's not 100%. You want to act upon something? Make sure it's 99, make sure it's 100% correct, make sure it's yaqeen. That's how we should act. There are many different levels for us to be able to reach certainty. How are we able to achieve certainty in what we have as Muslims? Every day we're bombarded with so many questions. Bombarded with questions about God. In school, in university, in our communities, we're bombarded with questions about Allah. How do we know God exists? We're bombarded with questions about our religion, Islam. Especially Shia Islam. We're bombarded with so many questions. Sometimes, some of us, if we don't have a strong structure, you're shook. You're going to be shaken. Others might say, you know what, I feel insignificant. Another person might say, I have 100% certainty in my religion. If the biggest mountain, if the biggest wind comes to shake me, I will not fall. I'll be like a standing mountain. Some of us have this strong certainty. And to the ones who have such strong certainty in their religion, my hat's off to you. Because you were able to do so in such a country full of corruption that you open the TV and you see all the bombardment of hate, all the bombardment of trying to get you to lose spirituality. Realize you open the TV, many of the shows, yet most of the shows, their total aim is to get you to lose spirituality. Especially in this country, in America. That many things, indecent things, you find they give the clubs and the drugs and the women and the money and the gambling to make us lose spirituality. And the sad part is many of us fall for these. Yet we call ourselves Husseini. You know what the problem with this is? Imam Hussein, to the last second he died, he was preaching freedom. Imam said, I won't die a slave. Kill me, even if I'm alone, but I won't die a slave. I'm going to die free. You know what it means to be free? If you're a person going up chasing the woman, that you're not free. You're a slave of your own desires. If you're an alcoholic, you're not free. Guess what? You're a slave of your own desires. If you sit on your video games playing 10 hours a day, you're not free. You know why? Because you're a slave of your own desires. You can't get up and leave. Imam says, don't be a slave. Be free in your actions. In tonight's analysis, I'd like to point out 3 ways that we would be able to reach certainty. The first way is given to us by a famous Sunni scholar by the name of Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, who was a man who writes well about Ahlul Bayt, and a man who is very knowledgeable, mashallah. This man states that one way for us to be able to reach certainty is by being skeptics. Being skeptical. The word skeptical means you ask about things around you. If a Maulana comes up here, or a Sheikh, or whoever comes up on the podium and says, God exists for sure. You're sitting in your seat, you say, well, how can God exist? You're skeptical. You want to ask, you want to know what's going on, you ask questions. And that's excellent. Sadly, in some of our communities today, asking questions has become forbidden. And some might ask, well, why don't the youth come to the masjid? Why doesn't this sister come to the masjid? Why doesn't this brother come to the masjid? It's because no one is answering their questions. The questions they have about God, they're not being answered. The questions they have about our imams, about Shia Islam, they're not being answered. If someone asks a question like, how does God exist? Say, what did you just ask? What did you say? And you might not see that person ever again. Because he asked a question, he's banished. The schools of our Ahlul Bayt were built upon the basis of asking. The school of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, everyone came to ask him. Do you really think that the schools of Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, do you think that the school of Imam al-Sadiq, of Imam al-Baqir would be built if they were not open-minded people? Some might say, well, you know what? People asked Imam Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq because they were knowledgeable. We have many knowledgeable people today, but they're not asked any questions. Oh, they were kind. We have many kind people today, but they're not asked questions. Why? The reason that they are able to be asked questions is because they feel that they were open-minded. When an atheist comes to Imam Sadiq and says to him, oh Ja'far ibn Muhammad, or Imam Sadiq, tell me something. I believe I'm a creator. I am a khaliq. You say your God is a khaliq, guess what? I'm a khaliq as well. Now usually, this was asked to our communities, we'd look at the person with open eyes. What did you just say? You're a God? You're a khaliq? Leave the masjid, you're a kafir. Some of us, we have these mentalities. Imam looked at him and he knew this man was trying to reach certainty. Because you have three types of people. A person who comes and he argues because he just wants to argue for fun. You have another person who's really willing to learn. And you have another person who's just darn down stubborn. All he wants to do is debate with you because he has nothing else to do. Inshallah, most of us are from the ones who want to gain certainty. A man comes to Imam al-Sadiq. He says to him, I am a God just like your God is a God because I am a khaliq as well. He says to him, tell me, how have you concluded that you are a khaliq? He says to him, well, you know what? When I got some sand and some compost and some mud, I saw worms emerge. So I was able to create worms. Muslim, really? Because yeah. Muslim, show me. Muslim, go, take me and show me. So this man brings compost, he brings mud, right? And all of a sudden worms start to emerge. Looks at Imam and says, see, I created worms. I'm a creator just like your God is. Imam looks at him and says to him, look at the brilliance of our holy Imams. I say, my God, where do you find leaders like these with such brilliance? Imam looks at him and says to him, these are your creation. Tell me which one of these worms is a male and which one is a female. He looks at the Imam. He says, well, actually, I don't know. He said, okay, that's fine. Look at these worms and tell me how much each one of them weighs. Imam says, I don't know. He looks at Imam and Imam looks at him and says, you're the creator. They're moving this direction. Tell them to move this direction. He says to him, I can't. He says to him, what kind of creator are you? You don't know the gender, the weight, and you can't even tell them to move their direction. What kind of a creator are you compared to our Allah who knows each and every single little detail in our lives? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Many recurring stories like these. A man comes to Imam al-Sadiq and he says to him, where is God? Show me God. Imam looks at him and says, tell me where God isn't, I'll tell you where he is. He looks at Imam. He says to him, tell me when God was existent. When was he created? He says to him, tell me when God wasn't existent and I'll tell you when he was created. Another man comes to Imam al-Sadiq, says to him, you know what, I don't believe in God at all. Imam says to him, what's your occupation? Where do you work? He says to Imam, I'm a sailor. I sail boats. He says to him, as a sailor, have you ever shipwrecked? He says to Imam, of course I've shipwrecked. He said to him, and when you shipwrecked, did you hold on to anything? He says to him, yeah. He says to him, you're an atheist? You don't believe in God? He says, yes. Because the atheistic belief is that this world is really nothing. We're created from nothing, we live nothing, and when we die, we go nowhere. So the fancy part and the pretty interesting part is that why would the atheist hold on to a plank if he had no hope? Imam looks at him and says, if you're an atheist, why hold on to a plank after you fall from the ship? You don't believe in God, you're going into nothing. So might as well end it. He said to him, did you have hope at the instant you fell inside the water? He said to him, I did. He said to him, that hope is Allah. Because why else would you have hope? What would give you hope when you believe this world is nothing and you're going into nothing? It's an amazing understanding that when we are skeptical, we get answers. Our communities, my dear brothers and my dear sisters, and I highly stress about this, is that each and every question a youth asks should be answered. If we don't know, we should say, I don't know. But we shouldn't stop them from asking questions. They have to answer questions. Therefore, any questions they have, they should be answered. If a person like myself doesn't know, I'll say, I don't know. But there's a person who's more a'lam, who knows, who does have an answer. Because we have the best religion. We know that we have the best religion as Muslims, as ones who guide others, and as leaders. We should have the certainty and understanding that we have the best religion. Some of us might be sitting here and we say, I've been a Muslim for a while, but I don't really believe 100%. You're trying to tell me that the Holy Prophet on one night went from his horse up to the sky? You're trying to tell me Imam Ali lifted a gate, it took 44 men to lift? You're trying to tell me the sun came back for Imam Ali? How can this be? How can it work? But there are answers to all of these questions. And the answer is certainty, having as much certainty as possible. One way of reaching certainty is to be one who is very skeptical.